Yeah, it's your boy Griff here, back with another video, and today I got a special video, guys, man. Today we're back with the tournament of, I keep saying the tournament power. We are back with a different type of video. No more TOP, not for this video, man, not for this video. We're gonna be talking about my predictions for the 7th anniversary of Dragon Ball Legends. Everyone is super hype about this. The fact that it hits the 7th anniversary is a big deal. I mean, you know, the Dragon Ball, 7 Dragon Balls. So I think this milestone in terms of like the Dragon Ball lore is a big thing. The fact that they was able to survive for 7 years. You guys know, like, the release those we've been getting about certain, like, hey, you know, we're gonna ramp up like how the game is played. Certain updates is going to happen during the 7th anniversary, and so a lot of people's expectations for this anniversary is at an all-time high. It's probably the highest that it's ever been. Maybe I'll probably say second is the 1st anniversary, just because the hype that built up before it happened. I think this is probably going to be the most anticipated anniversary we gotten out of the past 6 that we just got. This 7th one, people are putting their expectations really high and expect for it to be the best anniversary that the game has ever had. So we're gonna see if the Dragon Ball Legends can do it. Like I said, big things are coming for sure. So I wanted just to drop down my video on what I think the anniversary is going to be. So when it comes to, I want to first talk off is about the anniversary. I think the first thing when it comes to the part 1, I think that it got to be a good start off character. I think the part 1, in my opinion, is the most important headlining characters to start an anniversary, because it sets the tone for how people are going to feel about part 2, and then are they going to be able to even wait for part 3. Part 1 gotta be a banger. So I think the importance of part 1 in terms of who you selecting for your headliner is very, very, very important. Also I wanted to talk about is basically the importance of the anniversary in terms of their cutscenes. Every year they have like a special little story for whatever the headliners is, and I also think that's very important. So based off my predictions and stuff, I'm going to explain why I have certain characters for part 1, part 2, and part 3. And then also for my format, I'm gonna just keep it the same, basically like how it was for Legends Fest last year. 2 LFs for part 1, 2 LFs for part 2, and then an Ultra to end it off. I know a lot of people has been speculating like an Ultra and LF for part 1, then double LFs, and then an Ultra LF. Me personally, I just don't see that, because if there's one that's an Ultra, one that's an LF, everyone's gonna go for the LF. I mean the Ultra for part 1. Like, I feel like they're just gonna be a big tide into going for the Ultra character than the LF character for part 1. So I just don't feel like there's a balance. So I think this is gonna be regular LFs, 2 LFs, 2 LFs for part 2, and then Ultra for the last part. So yeah, I kind of got everything out the way there. I'm gonna have some things that I'm going to show you guys, and it's gonna go by one, and let's get straight into it, man. Let's get straight into it. So like I said, the first thing here is basically showing all the 6th anniversary stuff, talk about the headliners. First Annie, Super Vegito. I know it has Super Saiyan Blue Goku, but it's Super Vegito. Then you have Vegito Blue, you got Gogeta 4, you got MEY Goku, Goku Frieza, and then you have Super Vegito and Gogeta Blue together. So like I said, I talk about how important the LS for the part 1 is super important in terms of how the anniversary, or how the momentum of the anniversary is going to go. So I think the LF's got to be hype. Whatever the hype, the headlining characters for part 1 has to be hype for people to still want to keep playing the game and summon for those dope characters. So after that, like I said, I'm going to be using kind of like the same format of Legends Fest, where they kind of started off with the first part 1 was like 1 tag, and then part 2 it was like 2 different tags with Daima and Majin Buu Saga, and then they ended off with the Ultra. I'm gonna reverse it. I think this time I'm gonna do it where it's going to be 2 different like tags getting buffed, and then part 2 is going to be about 1 tag, and then it's going to be the Ultra. So it's going to be like a flip-flop for part 1 and part 2, but I'm basing it off the Legends Festival 2024. So yeah, let's get to it. So I think the first thing I want to talk about, like I said, is going to be the cutscenes. I did talk about that. I referenced that every anniversary you have a cutscene. Last year cutscene was basically Super Vegito and Gogeta Blue. I think they fought each other, and then I think they like joined together to fight like Rildo and Cell and Frieza. All these villains that they fought, they kind of worked together to defeat them. So there's always going to be some type of like story between the headliners, and I think that's very important. And I think that there was a past one that I want to revisit, so let me cook. So let's get straight into it though. I want to bring back one of the LFs. I want to start bringing back Legends Originals. I think Legends Originals was really amazing idea. It brought a fresh content for just Dragon Ball in terms of like what characters that we can have together. It really had one Legends original character, which was Goku and Bardock. I really feel like that was a pretty dope scene. You know, them two together fighting off against Frieza. And I really feel like that's a concept that they can constantly make for future anniversary. If they run out of the ideas, there's just so many what if factors and stuff, that collaborations of characters that they can bring together and make even more hype characters, and you know, really not really running out of ideas. So I want to bring back the Legends original character, and I want to talk about the Legends original character that I want to bring for Tournament of Power, because you guys know we got that free to play Golden Frieza. So you guys know Tournament of Power Unireps is gonna get some love. They haven't got love in like about 2.5 years since MUI Goku, Ultra MUI Goku. So it's been about like around 2 years, bro. They haven't gotten no love. So let's get straight into it. I think the my first one, this is going to be what I want, is going to be a Legends original tag UI Sign Goku and Evo Vegeta. Now, me personally, I think this is going to be really hype. I think it'll be really cool just to see them together. I know that we had, you know, Evolution Vegeta and Kaioken Goku fighting together. I believe this is around the same time that Ultra MUI dropped. So I think it would have been a pretty cool moment to see, you know, UI Sign and Evo Vegeta being together, like part of the same tag character. That would be really hype. I think the fact that we haven't gotten a UI Sign Goku since Ultra MUI, I think people would love to still see a UI Sign Goku. And then an Evo Vegeta, I personally think it would be a really cool thing where maybe UI has a certain gauge compared to Evo Vegeta. I think maybe Evo Vegeta might have more of like an attacking gauge, but then when you go to UI has more of like a, you know, the gauge that a typical UI character has, where he has the like the dodge, where it consumes his gauge, where he does like, you know, he dodges against blast cards and blue cards, and maybe if he's at over 50 and they do a blue card, he can absorb that. He can consume 50% and dodge against like dashing blue cards or something like that, where it's like a better version of like purple UI or the Ultra MUI, but it's like a better version in the sense. And I really feel like that would be a really hype character, bro. Evo Vegeta with UI Sign Goku as a Legends tag for Unirep. I think that would be really hype. Like I said, a lot of people still like the UI Sign mode, like the transformation, and I think Evo Vegeta will get some love with Vegeta, and I think that would be a really cool concept. You know, something that's like, man, what if they fought together instead of the Kaioken? What if it was UI Sign and Evo fighting off against Jiren? That would be pretty cool. So I wanted to bring that into light. I think this would be a really dope concept, and I think a lot of people would be down for that idea. So I want to bring Legends Originals back with UI Sign and Evo Vegeta being a tag character. Both of them having their different gauges when you switch into them. I definitely think if they're going to update the game where they can have these certain more stuff, if you're going to get rid of old devices for new powerful devices to be able to deal with these type of updates that you guys want to have in the game, I think, you know, a tag character that has two different type of gauges is something that they can possibly do now. So yeah, and then after that, for the second LF is going to be a Synchro Gauge Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta and Super Saiyan Blue Goku fusing into Vegito Blue. Now granted, I know that we got LF transforming Vegito Blue for the for Legends Fest, but hear me out. The past 6 anniversaries, we have always gotten a Vegito character. Every single time we have gotten some type of version of a Vegito character. I think, to me, Dragon Ball Legends sees Vegito as probably their most high selling character because they had him for the past 6 anniversaries. First anniversary is LF Purple Super Vegito. Second anniversary is Blue LF Vegito Blue. Third anniversary, although he wasn't a headliner, they dropped a purple regular sparking Super Saiyan Blue Vegito. Fourth anniversary, it was Ultra Yellow Ultra Super Vegito. Fifth anniversary, they dropped Red Ultra Vegito Blue. Sixth anniversary, they dropped the synchro gauge of Super Vegito. So I'm like, hey, 7th anniversary. I think we should just keep it going, bro. We might as well do the synchro gauge Super Saiyan Blue Vegito, right? We might as well do that, and I think that'll be a really nice headliner for part 1 and part 2. And the reason why I wanted to do this, them two specifically, is for all the people that played for part 1. You guys will remember, like I said how important the story between the headlining characters for part 1 is. They always have some type of story mode with them, maybe battling it out or fighting together. It's going to basically bring back that story that they had in part 1 of anniversary, the first anniversary, where it was the whole gods versus the super warrior. So think about this as end of Z. We've already the beginning of Z, where you have Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta and Goku fighting Super Vegito, but now it's kind of more so towards the end of Z, where it's like, all right, Vegito has found this god form, so now he's a Super Saiyan Blue. He's Super Saiyan Blue Vegito now, and then he come across Goku Vegeta, but now instead of them being Super Saiyan Blue, maybe it's UI Sign Goku versus Evo Vegeta. I think that would be pretty cool. Of course, Mastered MUI is the strongest form of Goku, but I think, like I said, for the story, UI Sign and then Evo Vegeta fighting off against Super Saiyan Blue Vegito will be a pretty cool story that they have kind of started off with the first anniversary, but now you bring it back. It's like, all right, I'll catch you in 2 years, and they come back with all of them coming out with different forms. Vegito turning Super Saiyan Blue, Goku having UI Sign, and then you have Vegeta with the Evokin. I think that'll be a pretty cool storyline. I think that they'll get the Vegito, the 7th time having Vegito. You have some hype characters that people will love for part 1, and then you also are continuing a story that you got that the LegendsNEWZ started off. Gods versus Super Warrior is like a part 2 now. Now it's maybe a certain different title, but it's just something that they introduced before. So I actually think that'll be a pretty cool idea. And that's pretty much it with part 1 in terms of who I think it is. I think that'll be a pretty cool part 1. I think a lot of people would love that, and I think it just makes sense. So comment down below how you guys feel about my take on it. And anyways, the reason why I wanted to bring Vegito is let's not forget that Future has also been getting love this year. January we had what's the name? We had Red Zamasu. We had also the secede Grunks, Gohan seceding into Trunks, and then we also had Ultra Cell. So we also had some future characters this year that dropped, and then also of course they're going to start working on Tournament of Power TOP Uni Reps because of who's everyone expecting to be the Ultra for this. I think that also makes sense because Vegito Future got love this year, and I think they're going to want to work on Uni Reps. And I think this all makes sense as well. It's not like I'm just throwing Vegito out just cause. And also, the characters that's going to be on here will help out a character, that I'm going to talk about for part 3. Being a Super Saiyan Blue, God Key, and then you have Uni Reps, and then there's Saiyans. So I think they all will coincide with the part 3 character that I'm going to show you guys. I think everything kind of makes sense. So yeah, anyways, let's go with part 2. Like I said, part 2 is going to be about a certain tag. Right now, this tag is super hated on. The most annoying team to deal with in Dragon Ball Legends right now in PvP. And we're going to go back to the new series that Dragon Ball dropped is Daima. I feel like they're going to revisit the tag. I just don't see them dropping Super Saiyan 4 adult Goku, Super Saiyan 3 adult Vegeta, Ku and Do, and then just stopping there and then waiting like we have like a 6-month dry spell of no Diamond. I feel like they're going to still add in some more Diamond characters, and I actually have 2 different versions of what they can do with part 2 when it comes to Daima, in my opinion. So let's get straight into it. So we have the first variants of part 2. right? Where we're going to basically have Kid Super Saiyan 4 Mini Goku. Now, me personally, I'm surprised that they dropped the adult versions before the mini version. I think the adult version to me is more hyped than the mini version, but it might be different, right? You know, maybe in the the other side of the world, maybe people prefer the mini version compared to the what's the name version. Maybe they feel like this sells more. Maybe people gravitate more toward the mini side compared to this side of the world. So, me personally, I think they're gonna drop a LF mini Goku right before they even get into the Ultra variants. They gotta drop at least the LF versions, right? I think they can do a standalone LF Super Saiyan 4 Goku, someone that does a ton of damage and stuff, right? You guys could definitely do that. And then in terms of the other part 2 character, it's going to be Diamond related. You gotta drop the antagonist of the whole series. I feel like it's going to be Goma. I think Goma is an interesting character because one, he is a very large character. I think the biggest thing with Dragon Ball Legends is that introducing giant characters. The biggest character we kind of have in the game is, you can say, is merged corrupted Zamasu. CM's corrupted merged Zamasu. He's probably the biggest character in the game that we have right now. And I think like the fact that Goma gets bigger when he's like fighting off the protagonists, the heroes, all right, the you know, the Dragon Ball gang, he gets big. He's a big character, bro. Like there's literally a picture of Goma where he's like has a fist against, like his finger is literally like the size of mini Vegeta. I don't know if I could find it. Like literally, look at this. Look how huge he is. That's full Vegeta here. And like, and when he fights like bigger version of Vegeta, like he's still not that big, right? So like I think like he's a giant character. So hopefully if they're gonna increase the RAM of the game and stuff, they can add in Goma. Me personally, I think it's going to be pretty difficult. I'm more hesitant off this version. One, because not only because he's a giant character, but also Legends don't really drop headliners for, or like LF characters for villains. You don't really see villains being LFs for the anniversary or Legends Fest. I think the only two that I can think of that were LFs for the anniversary and Legends Fest is pretty much LF Corrupted Merge Zamasu for 3rd Annie, and then LF Goku Black from 2024 Legends Fest. I can't think of anybody else, like in terms of an LF being a villain. Unless I'm missing somebody, you guys can comment down below. But for the most part, they always drop heroes compared to villains. So I think it's gonna be tough for him to get an LF. Just one, because he's, you know, his size, and then two, that he's a villain. And more people just summons for hero characters than they do for villains. So that's why I wanted to introduce a second version of part 2 where it's still Diamond, but it's a different version. Where, let's get straight into it. So the first one is going to be, you guys see here, is actually going to be Revival Super Saiyan 3 Goku 2 Mini Super Saiyan 4 Goku. It'll be smart because then they can have a revival version of Mini Super Saiyan 4 Goku, and then they can drop a standalone LF Super Saiyan 4 Mini Goku down the line. Just like how they did with Orange Piccolo, where, you know, he starts off with light skin and he transforms into Orange Piccolo, and then they can drop an Orange Piccolo maybe later down the road. They could do something like that, right? You know, there was a dope scene where Super Saiyan 3 Mini Goku does turn, like he fights Goma. I feel like the scene was amazing, and then, you know, he loses, and then maybe the scene has Neva pulling up like this and then giving him, you know, whatever the power that he gave him for him to transform. We have some dope, nice cutscene of him turning into Super Saiyan 4 Goku, and I think that would be pretty cool. And then we can save Mini Super Saiyan 4 Goku for another Daima buff later down the road. I feel like this will be a really cool moment. I think this will be amazing. The cutscene and how, like, if they animate it right, I feel like it'll be pretty cool. Like, you just see like Neva pull up with his hands like this, and then like maybe, I don't know what they do, and then like this light right here with Super Saiyan 3 Goku, it like turns super bright, and then it's like Super Saiyan 4 Mini Goku emerges. I think that'll be a pretty cool LF for Daima. I know Daima is super powerful right now, but I feel like they're gonna still give that team some love. The second LF for this second variant is going to be Mini Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta. Now, granted, he can also actually get a LF as a revival character as well, because, you know, when Vegeta is fighting, what's the name, he is getting beat up by Tamagami 2, right? Tamagami 2. and then you know he literally gets beat down. He's at the water. He's just chilling there, and then he like transforms into Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta. Like that's the first time we see Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta. He emerges and stuff, and like you know everyone is like, whoa, he could turn Super Saiyan 3 too. So he can also be a revival character too, or they can make him a standalone. They could switch swap it where it's like a standalone Super Saiyan 4 Goku and it's a revival Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta. They could do it, you know, maybe a standalone Super Saiyan 3 mini Vegeta, and then it's a revival Super Saiyan 4. Either way, it'll be fine for me. It doesn't really matter. But I feel like they, you know, I feel like this might be a better way, you know, to drop more Daima units. I feel like I said, I feel like I just don't see them stopping with the Daima characters that we currently have now. I feel like they're going to give Daima a little bit more buffs as well. So I personally think these two variances could possibly happen. If I had to pick one, I'm gonna go with this version where it's like the either like a revival Super Saiyan 4 mini Goku or a revival Super Saiyan 3 mini Vegeta, and then one of them might be a standalone Super Saiyan 4 or a standard Super Saiyan 3 mini Goku or Vegeta. So I think Daima's still gonna get some love. I think in terms of like the 1% Sparkins, they can do Tamagami 2, and then here maybe if they're possible, maybe they just do a 1% Sparking of Goma. You know, they could definitely do that as well. But like I said, he's a giant character. I don't know how that's going to play off, but they gotta find a way to add Goma in because he's a major part of the Daima series. Not being able to add the main villain for that series that you just made is a big deal. So they could definitely make a LF Goma. I think the powers and the stuff that he has, he has so many animations that he can have so many different versions of LF's version of him, because just the power of the third eye and just like the, I don't know, the colorful like aura that he has around, like when he does his moves is super dope. I feel like it's just a character that you just cannot just not include into the game. So hopefully he does. I'm a big fan of villains, but like I said, for the track records of villains in terms of being part of Legends Fest and anniversaries, I believe we only got 2 compared to all the headliners that were hero characters. It's not looking good for the villains, but let's see if, you know, he can crack the code again. Maybe he's probably the 3rd villain that gets one. Hopefully he does get an LF soon, but from based on what we've seen from the past anniversaries and Legends Fest, villains don't really be getting love. Pretty much every villain is usually a 1% Sparking. If you really think about it, when it comes down to like Blue Zamasu and like Tapion, right, having Hirudegan, then you have stuff like Evo Boo, and then you have like the Green Broly. All like the POs are pretty much the 1% Sparkins for their respective LF characters in a sense. So yeah, I just wanted to talk about that. And then last but not least, I'm gonna talk about part 3. I mean, everyone's talking about the same LF. I mean Ultra, right? So and I think it's just obvious, right? He's the last like super hype anime character for Dragon Ball, right? Like you have just certain tiers, and he's the last of that top tier, right? You got the Vegeta Blue, like for the Ultra variants, you got like Super Gogeta, Gogeta 4, you got Vegeta Blue, you got Super Vegito, you got Beast Gohan, right? Like you got all them guys. You got UI Sign, right? So you know it's only right to talk about the man himself, Ultra Mastered Ultra Instinct Goku. Like he gotta be it. He's gotta be it. And the reason why I don't understand why people think he's going to be the part 1 Ultra doesn't make sense, because I just don't see who could be part 3. Who could be a part 3 Ultra that is more hyped than this guy that's remaining? Okay, even if you introduce the Ultra LF, right? I just don't see no one hyper than him, more hyped than him. Like, who would you put? Like Vegito LF, Gogeta 4 LF? You know, I just don't know. Like, you know, it'll be pretty difficult. So I just think, and like I said, and if you introduce him as part 1, and then you're dropping an LF right next to him, everyone is going to summon for Ultra MUI. No one's not going to summon for LF Super Gogeta or Kefla. Whoever is next to them, and it's a LF variant, everyone's going to summon for MUI Goku. Unless you make one banner that has both LF and Ultra together. I don't see it happening. I could definitely be wrong, but if you're going to do two separate banners of part one, and one is an Ultra variant and one is an LF variant, everyone is going for the Ultra. Like, it's not even a question. Everyone's going for the Ultra, not something for the LF side. So I think that's why I wanted the part one to be equal, because if one is an Ultra variant and one is an LF, everyone's gonna go for the Ultra. So I think you save him for last. I think whatever new kit and abilities that this guy has, he's going to be undisputed number one. The only MUI Goku we have in the game is literally the 4th anniversary Red LF MUI Goku. So the fact that this is going to be our second version of him in the past 3 years is pretty crazy, that they went 3 years without ever creating another MUI Goku. That's actually pretty nuts to think about. So I think like whatever animations that they drop for this guy, it's going to be kind of like on a par. If it's going to be better than like Ultra Beast. I think Ultra Beast Gohan has some crazy animations. I think this guy is going to be utterly ridiculous in terms of what he does on the battlefield. His auto counter thing is going to probably be even worse. He's going to be ridiculous, bro. He might have some new mechanic that a lot of people are thinking about him having, like the domain, or it's going to be something ridiculous. It's going to be something groundbreaking, and he's going to be the undisputed number one character. So yeah, so that's pretty much up with my anniversary here, in terms of part one, part two, and part three. Like I said, we're going to start off with part one. We're going to have the Legends original LF UI sign tag Evo Vegeta together. I think this will be a really hype. It's super. I don't think it's super hype. Like, it's very, very hype. These two together will be pretty hype. A lot of people still likes the UI sign version. There's a lot of Vegeta fans too. So these are kind of like their highest potential at that point in the series, before, you know, Goku gets MUI and then Vegito gets Ego, right? And then after that, you have the single gauge Vegito Blue. And like I said, it does coincide with the story they had in part one, where it's Gods versus Super Warriors. They could revisit that again with all of them with newer forms, and they duke it out again. I think that'll be pretty dope. Then part two, like I said, is gonna be Daima. I just think that them just introducing Daima in March and then not like revisiting them, I just don't think it makes sense to me. I feel like they're gonna still drop some more characters regarding to them. So I think it's gonna be something like that, where part two is mainly Daima. So I think it's either gonna be a Goku 4 with him and Goma, or it's going to be like a revival of Vegeta and him, and then a standalone of Super Saiyan 4 or Super Saiyan 3 mini Goku or Vegeta. And then last but not least, we got Ultra MUI Goku himself. So yeah, that's pretty much it with my video. Let me know what you guys think. Comment down below your guys' prediction. Let me know how I did. Like, if this is what they dropped, like, would this be hype to you guys? I hopefully think my explanation makes sense. I don't see it being movie saga. I think movie saga has been something they usually do towards like after what's the name, usually like in the second half they do a lot more movies buff, right? So I kind of wanted to go with Daima and Future and MU and Unireps, because, you know, Future got buffs this year. It's pretty much been Future. DB Saga's not gonna get no love for sure. Like, they're not any hype. So it's gonna be Future that got love this year, Diamond that got love this year, and they're going to start making TOP or Unireps a good team, and we can tell by making this free to play Frieza. So yeah, that's pretty much it with the video. Hope you guys enjoy. Like, comment, subscribe, and rough, and I'm out. Peace.